What's happening, YouTube? It's Nocturnal Thoughts in the building. Um, Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Definitely was an exciting night for boxing last night. Um, and I just got to chime in, say a few things, and then I'm going to get out y'all way. Um, First of all, I want to give congratulations uh, to Rigadow, Spencer, and Charlo for having a victorious and a safe night. Um, Jump right into it. Um, Rigadow didn't have his best night. He did end on a high note with a knockout, which I felt like was coming. It wasn't the best night. It wasn't the best performance, but I did understand the method to his madness at that point in time, where a lot of people were claiming that he was on his bicycle and he was doing a lot of running in his previous fights. So therefore, he wanted to show that he could fight inside the pocket and that he could have, like, they say, that telephone booth type of a fighting style where you can see that for a lot of the fight, it looked like he was getting outbested. And in a few rounds, there were points and times where I felt like it might have been a bad idea for him to go that route, and he should have been boxing more. But for the most, another portion of that fight, I could see where even though he was getting outworked, when he did land his punches were more effective and doing more damage. They just weren't the output wasn't as much as I would have liked to saw. He was just pulling, one or two punches here and there. He started doing some body shots around to the, kidneys and whatnot. And I thought at that point he was about to turn that fight around and knock him out. But, he actually started to take a lot of punishment. He got wobbled a couple of times. So after he got wobbled, I felt like maybe he should have, reverted from that plan and went back into more of a boxing style. But he stayed true to his game plan, and he pulled out a knockout, which I didn't see. I had to run out the house real quick. By the time I got back in, it's like one of those things where it's like, don't go take a restroom break. But I actually missed the knockout. I came back and watched the highlights of it, watched the replay of it. So I didn't see the actual build up to the knockout. I did watch the entire 6 round fight with this new prodigy. His name is Spencer. And to be honest, he looked like he needs some work too. I mean, I know he's just now fighting 6 round fights and he has potential, but he also looked like he almost got outbested in that fight too. So he definitely need to do some work going into his next fight. But young, 19 years old. The other guy came in pretty hungry. I forget what his name is. He came in hungry, but he got outworked. But he did have a few rounds where he looked like he might pull off an upset. Going into the Charlo fight, which once again, we all wanted to see the Harrison fight, the rematch fight. But Harrison pulled out due to an ankle injury. He showed up at the fight. He had the boot on. He did an interview post-fight, and I want to talk about that a little bit too. But pre-fight, I had a few guys I like to watch, casual boxing talk, Showbiz, The Dope, Boxing Wave. A lot of those guys, man, they were saying that, first of all, Showbiz, The Dope, shouts out to you, nothing but respect. But he just made the comparison with the Andy Ruiz, and that's a lot of. That's why I really go by is all the comments you get on these channels, where you see a lot of people were like, it was split. It was split, but a lot of people were saying that, look, this might be that Ruiz effect. Andy Ruiz effect, where you can't take this fight away from Charlo because it was a replacement fight. Because a lot of people were saying that, oh, he's a bum, Quarter's a bum, and you know, Jamel Charlo is just fighting a bum and he's fighting a punching bag. Where you just had Anthony Joshua in the same predicament where he had his fighter that he was planning for to pull out of that fight and replacement fighter who was somebody that was legitimate like Andy Ruiz and came and knocked him out. And a lot of people were saying that was going to be the same fight that you were going to see with Charlo. Charlo was expecting to fight Harrison. Harrison pulled out. Now he's fighting Cota and he's going to get upset. It's going to be the same thing what happened to Anthony Joshua. Now that that didn't happen, you can't turn around and discredit Charlo and say, oh, this guy was just a punching bag. You got to still say, man, he just knocked out a legitimate contender. And he knocked him out in 3 rounds. And now, as far as Boxing Wave was saying, Boxing Wave, you know, from more of my perspective, was trying to find to see if Charlo made any improvements in between his last fight with Harrison. And it's just hard to say whether or not he made an improvement when he knocked that guy out in 3 rounds. But what I can say is, based off Showbiz the Dope, Cota is a heavy-handed puncher. He's a legitimate fighter. He's only been knocked out 1 other time, and he has some good knockouts on his resume. So this guy wasn't just a tomato can or a sack of potatoes. He was a legitimate fighter, and Charlo made pretty good work out of him. When he knocked him out, he knocked him out in a fashion to where, you know, he almost knocked the life out of him. The guy was looking like a damn Walking Dead, what they call those guys when you show up on the side of a show, just maybe you might get a chance to get into the movie. He looked like he was ready to audition for The Walking Dead. But I have to give credit to Charlo for that knockout. And it wasn't enough in 3 rounds to see if he made enough improvements to fight Harrison. You can't even base it off of that. But I do think he made a statement, you know what I'm saying, that he didn't let his mind get discombobulated. He didn't let his mind come into the fight to where he didn't perform. He didn't do what Anthony Joshua did. He didn't come in with, he didn't get the negative results. He didn't come into that fight and lose his cool, get off his square, and get beat, which could have happened. He could have knocked down, he could have had the same thing what happened with, it was the 3rd round. He knocked him down first. It could have been the same thing where, like Anthony Joshua knocking down Andy Ruiz in the 3rd round, and then only to have Andy Ruiz get up and knock him down 2 times in that same round. That could have just as well happened to Charlo. After he knocked down Cota could have got up and knocked him down and beat him. And it would have been a totally different argument this morning. Everybody would have been saying how they knew Charlo was just a hyped up, overhyped job. You know, he really never had power. He was, you know, they call him the Charlo sisters. I just feel like a lot of people that hate on Charlo, because I'm not a Charlo fan or a Charlo hater. You know what I'm saying? Look, I wish he didn't come in with that big lion mascot thing on. What he need to do is he need to kind of fashion that in a smoother way. If I was him, I would go into the Coming America style, the King, where I would just have that big lion head right there holding on, you know what I'm saying, to my joint that come across the chest. I would have the big lion head as like a cape pin right there. You know what I'm saying? Like what was the King Jaffe? I would have that lion, boom, right there. But coming into the ring with the big mascot joint on, to me, that looks a little lame. Other than that, you know, yeah, I don't like for to see the guys losing their cool if they partying too much, kicking it too much jewelry, stuff like that. I don't dig all that, but them young dudes, and they living that life, or supposedly living that life, and they trying to, you know, show. A lot of people wear too much jewelry and too much flossing for my taste, but I don't discredit their ability to, you know, they're working hard. I like to see that brotherly love. And two twin brothers don't always get along. Trust me, I got a lot of twins in my family, and some of them damn near then killed each other out of just being too close. And it ain't always that twin love. Trust me, it ain't always brotherly love too. A lot of brothers can't work like that together. A lot of brothers hate each other to the point where they'd almost kill each other. And you got two brothers that's really building a legacy to where their kids is going to be able to look and say, look what our fathers did. Can't be mad at that. You can't knock that. And I can't knock Harrison either, but I'm just not feeling Harrison right now. He did look legitimately, his boot looked legitimate. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he had the boot on. But some of the things he say just to me don't jive well. Where, like he said after the fight, he said post-fight, if we would have had this fight in September, you would never even heard about my ankle. I just don't see anybody rehabbing that much in that short amount of time to where you couldn't have pushed through and took this. I know you're not 100% healthy, but even after you get your surgery and even after you go through rehab, are you physically and mentally going to be 100% healthy for this fight? Because he said he didn't want to use, and I understand that too. He said he didn't want to use this ankle injury as an excuse. Well, don't say nothing about it then. Because now that you done said something about it, unless you win this fight, whenever this rematch takes place, unless you win the rematch, then the ankle is still going to be an excuse. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't use it as an excuse, it's going to be an excuse. If you lose the fight, or if it's controversy in any kind of way, people are going to say, well, how much did the ankle injury affect you? You said, he'll be like, okay, say 3 weeks pass, 4 weeks pass, surgery, rehab, he starts training. He says, I feel good. I feel 100%. I feel like I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? He comes in a fight. It's a close fight again. Close fight where, you can't even tell who wins. They're going to come ask him, well, how much did you feel like your ankle, bothered you? And you can sit there and swear up and down and say, it didn't bother me at all. But if it's close or if you lose, the excuse is already going to be there. So even if you be like, oh, my ankle felt 100%, how many people are going to be like, well, it was just his injury. You know what I'm saying? And he had heart. He showed so much heart to even fight with the injury come off of rehab. So it's one of those things. Once you said it, once you used it, it's a double-blade sword. You damned if you do, you damned if you don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm not knocking Harrison, but I would have rather have seen him fight this fight, not being 100%, and lose the fight, and then let's get another rematch and do the best 2 out of 3. Because no fighter comes in 100% healthy, mentally or physically. It might be something that go on. Even Charlo said that before his Harrison fight, he had a lot of legal issues that he was dealing with. His mind wasn't 100%. And, that could have been just as detrimental to your fight performance as a physical injury. So we will see. It was interesting. I'm glad he got a little knockout. Even Harrison said, I was pulling for, like all that. That's what I don't dig about. Like, oh, I normally don't. That's what I'm saying about Harrison. Some of the things he say and the way he say them make me not look at him in a way where I'm like, I gotta salute him and respect him, because he say some lame stuff sometimes, some sucker stuff where you talking about I hardly ever root for a sucker. I was rooting for a sucker to win. And it's like, either you respect this man or you don't respect this man. You're saying you got a love-hate relationship, then you turn around in the same sentence and you say how much you hate him. And I'm like, where's the love? It's just one of those things where it's like, I totally look at Harrison like, dude, everybody contradicts themselves. I contradict myself all the time. But I try to be the type of person, if I really, really think about what I want to say, and then I say what I want to say, I stand on it and I can't renege and contradict it. You know what I'm saying? In the same damn sentence. And Harrison sometimes is just saying things in a way where it's questionable. It's questionable whether or not he's at that pedigree that I can respect. Like I said, I can't disrespect the man because I don't know him. I'm only going off what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from him. And from what I see and what I hear from him, it's questionable whether or not I can salute him and respect him with the way he talks versus the way he performs and the way he acts. We'll see. I mean, I got a lot of respect for people that's from Detroit that I know. My family that's in Detroit, I got respect for them to a certain extent because a lot of that stuff, and a lot of people in Detroit, be living foul. Like I got a great auntie that lives in Detroit, and she a little old lady, and she got to have she got some surveillance, security gates, the whole nine, burglar bar all around, just because people are breaking into your house. And I feel like in a community that's supposed to be so down and so real, I know you got a high crime rate, but somebody supposed to be looking out for this lady. When you living in a neighborhood that's crime riddled with crime, that same community is supposed to have this little lady back, where she's in the no go zone. She shouldn't have to have surveillance all around her house, front door camera, with security gates. You got to press a. But she shouldn't have to have all that at her own home when she been living there forever. And y'all supposed to be respected. If in my mind, she's supposed to be protected. If y'all supposed to be respected, she's supposed to be protected. So I understand coming from a place that's, what I'm saying, going through a lot of problems, but at the same time, I still like to see certain things within the community for me to respect that community. You know what I'm saying? And one is just that code where an old lady should never have to worry about any kind of crime going on at her home. If y'all to be respected, everybody should already know that's a no go. That's a no go zone. You know what I'm saying? She is protected by the community. Look, take the crime down the street. Take the burglary down the street. Take the violence down the street. Over here at I forget her name because it's my wife's family, but I think her name is like Aunt B. Aunt B, her house. Don't go over there with no reckless, criminal activity. She be out protecting herself. So I see, what I'm saying, a lot of stuff in Detroit that I do salute, but some stuff I do take back and be like, look, man, y'all got to do better too. Anyways, let me digress from that situation because that's not what this video is about. But Harrison's from Detroit. My stepdad is from Detroit. And some things about my stepdad has always been questionable too. So there you go. You know what I mean? I just think if they do a rematch, and I think if they would have did a rematch, I think Charlo would have got the best of him. He would have knocked him out. And then he could have came out with the ankle injury excuse, like Pacquiao. I still would have been like, okay, cool. Just fight again. Run it back. Let's do it one more time. The best 2 out of 3. Who's to say that would have happened? I don't know that would have happened. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought. That's just my opinion. I felt like Charlo didn't have his best fight, their first fight. He did catch him a few times. He was head hunting, so it made him look a little reckless sometimes. But he did catch him a lot. He did put in some work. I gave Charlo, I think, 7 or 8 rounds, where he, a few rounds were kind of out there for grabs, draw. So I could see how, like I said, I understand if the judges would have called that a draw. But given the fight to Harrison, I felt I wouldn't call it a robbery, but I don't think it was a total victory. I think Harrison took that and ran. And even if you look now at the replay after that fight, Harrison was shocked and surprised that he won that. I know I'm talking about that too. I don't want to talk about the Harrison situation too long. Congratulations to the fighters. This is Nocturnal Thoughts. Showbiz Adults, Boxing Wave, Casual Boxing, Boxing Physique, Amazing Eric, Dante Boxing Nation, anybody else that I'm forgetting, what's that one? Oh man, I always forget his name too, but he's got a dope channel. Boxing Ego, that's you, Boxing Ego, and Blue Blood Sports. This is Nocturnal Thoughts. I appreciate y'all. I'm out. Peace.